Well, thank you all for coming today. We had a couple that called in sick and some people got a case of the Mondays, but this is great to have a smaller, intimate group like this because then we can just have conversation and connections, like what was happening right now. Like, did you know? And you're like, no, I don't. And then to get those connections, like that's the collaboration in the nonprofit world that I love. Because, you know, sometimes we get in our own little silos and we don't get to see anything else, but then there's additional resources that are there that you make the connection, and who knows, that could be transformational for the school. You know? So so there's that great, beautiful pollination that's out there, and that's what I absolutely love about this. So excellent. Well, good. Well, thanks for coming today. Lunch is going to be coming here in just a minute,
yes.
And we're going to make sure we fill up the next 95 minutes with as much content and ideas and all of that to get out of this. So before we get started, I do want to ask all of you what brought you here today? What's the burning question that you have, or something that's at the top of mind, or whatnot? Jacqueline, why don't you go first?
Well, the person that I was invited by her is great fundraising, and she suggested it, and so we're always open and wanting to see like what are we doing, what are we doing,
Okay.
what could we be doing better, all of that. So.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, Athena, why are you here?
Same.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually didn't get the email, so I was very glad Margaret sent it to me. She was like, "Did you see this for Bobby D?" And I was like,
Oh,
"No,
nice.
I was not." So please put me on that. email.
Okay, yeah,
Okay, I will.
absolutely, no problem. I'll make a
So
note of that.
Very awesome. She was just like, "This sounds like a great thing," and then it's like, "Thank you." Just always excited to see what you have to teach.
Tony, what about you?
The lunch.
The lunch. Hey,
Me too.
honest answer. Honest answer. And maybe if something leaks in here, it'll be good, right? Okay.
I was looking at what I've been following you, quite some time now. And
Yeah.
I thought this was something I hadn't heard about, and was something that I would think that we can incorporate.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is something new. I want to go see what it's all about.
Yeah, and with your group that you have, this is a great thing to kind of help us take us into that next level. We're already utilizing a couple little kind of elements within the event already, but then I think I never counted up the amount of points, like different action points that we have within this, but I think it's probably close to at least 100 now.
Probably.
So from like the 3 or 4 that we're already using, like there's so many more that are there. And with this, like I said, there's a lot that's here, and we were kind of talking about the A students, B students, C students. If you want to be like the type triple A plus student, like do everything. If you just want to be A student, pick a bunch, as many as you can. B student, do a few. C student, just pick one and see if it makes a change. And that's kind of here. We just want to dump as much as we can into this time and make sure that it's valuable for you. Also valuable for us to, again, hear your questions, your ideas, your insight, because as much as we're here to teach and educate, we're also here to learn too. I'm always trying to stay in front of the best practices that are out there, try to learn from the best nonprofit leaders that are out there. I was just in New Jersey on Thursday for their big philanthropy day conference, and I got a ton of great ideas out of there. Friday, I was in Long Island, New York, a part of that, got some more great ideas. And then now this Friday is the Great Arizona's ASP, and I was looking to capture some more and just bring all of those great ideas together and then provide them to our clients and our friends. So right on. All right, well, here we are. Power of gratitude, how to raise money without even asking for it, by just saying thank you. Those are my 2 favorite words in the world, to say thank you. So thank you again for spending your time with us. And we're looking at the year and figuring like, what do we theme this next Lunch and Learn? And of course, here in about a week and a half, we've got Thanksgiving coming up. And I think this is such an important topic to talk about, how do we say thank you? Because it's that thank you is what continues to bring the donors back and continues to help us to grow those fundraising, totals that we get from our event. But the most important is beyond the event, which is, a lot of us know that, like, yes, we're going to raise 200, 300,000 on the day of, but then what are those relationships and the value of that relationship beyond that, to where now, like, we're getting close to finishing the capital campaign, right, Tony?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like keeping those relationships close. So then there's, these big ideas, they can come to fruition from those relationships that are there. Well, good. So we use the gala or the event as kind of a kind of that element to focus around the year. We specialize in event fundraising, but again, like I said, we do understand kind of the whole process of how it all works together within fundraising. So we kind of use it as a kind of a point in time to start, and then keep that going around. So whichever, April, September, March, as we're kind of talking through this, then you'll kind of know where you're at in the timeline. So we'll get started pre-event, and then we'll go at event, because there's a ton of stuff we can do at event, and then following the event, and then it just comes right back around. So so we'll get rolling here. So let's see here. First off, here it is. Gratitude changes everything, and it's all that gratitude that we have, not only in our our business, our positions, our fundraising spots where we're at, but also that gratitude in life. And I'm very, very fortunate to be in this world. Here, let's just get going. So yeah, thank you for being here. So a little bit of agenda. We're going to give a little bit about us, talk about trends, talk about the psychology of giving. We'll talk about before the event, at the event, after the event, and then some takeaways that you're able to take with you, and then any questions. Like I said, intimate group, open. If you have a question just ask it, yell it out. We're not very formal. So so we'll get started. My name is Bobby D. I am the founder and CEO of Call to Auction, because auction is action with you in it. Founded in about 2007. I'm a second generation auctioneer. I've been doing this for 20 plus years. And I got my start in the auto auction business. My dad was an auctioneer. My mom's an auctioneer. My two brothers are auctioneers. I married an auctioneer whose mom's an auctioneer, whose dad was an auctioneer. So I eat, sleep, and breathe auctions. But one day I woke up as an auto auctioneer, and I was like, wait a minute. I'm selling used cars to used car dealers. Where does that put me in the grand scheme of things? Not where I wanted to be, I can say. I was like, that didn't give me the warm and fuzzies. How can I go out and really make an impact in the world? And throughout, I was actually working with Seton, was one of my first clients that I was able to go and help. My folks were the auctioneers, and then they're like, you know what? You can do this now. So then I got into that, and then helped to, we were raising money for the chapel, is what we were actually raising money for. And one year, we raised a bunch of money at the gala, and then came back next year, and they were like, wow, did you see the chapel you helped us build? I didn't swing any hammers or lay any bricks or anything like that. They're like, no, you helped us raise money to build that. I'm like, oh, okay, this is how I'm connected in this. I want to do that more. And then I found out this is like actually a profession. This is a business that people create and are making huge impact in the world. So found some mentors, just dove in to find all the information I could with fundraising, just filling myself with education, but then also filling myself with experience, best practices, and then surrounding myself with the best team that's out there, full of passionate and energetic and engaging, talented individuals that are able to use a lot of the stuff that we're using to be able to affect more nonprofits. And that's kind of the whole goal of all of this, is like, how do we, I always like to say, you're dropping the pebble in the pond, and then the ripples are growing out. It's like, how do I make bigger ripples, but then how can I get more pebbles in the pond? And that's where I'm able to build a great team. And one of my team members here, let me introduce him. This is Dusty Klink. Dusty, why don't you give a little background to yourself?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you all for being here. We have, well, gosh, I started performing back about 26 years ago as a country singer, and I toured the Pacific Northwest. I'm from Eastern Washington. I did fairs, rodeos, festivals, the whole bit. We had a band, a bus, and road crew, and the whole bit, and we did a lot of fun stuff. And did that for about 10 years, and then, in order to keep a band going, you get this great summer event schedule, and then in the wintertime, in order to keep their chops up, you really have to play the honky-tonks and do the stuff like that. And, I was climbing this ladder and it seemed fairly successful, but then I was like, oh my gosh, it's definitely leaning against the wrong wall. I wasn't making the effective change that I really wanted to in people's lives. I was selling a lot of beer. That's true. But I was like, I wanted to do something more impactful. While I was doing that, real estate was the thing that kept the musician dream alive. And so I shifted more in that direction. About 2016, I was introduced to auctioneering, and I thought, oh my gosh, that is so fun. I went to auction school, and that's a thing. And at auction school, I learned about benefit auctions. And I thought, gosh, I don't want to sell cars, I don't want to sell cattle, but that kind of looks fun. And I'd played at different events throughout the years that were benefit auctions, and I always thought that's a really neat piece of the event. And so then, fast forward, I go to benefit auction specialist training, and they were like, "You need to know Bobby D." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay." I just recently moved to Phoenix back in 2020, and I thought, yeah, I don't really know anybody down here. So I reached out, I called Bobby, and we've been working together, and it's been amazing. I've been to Villa, I've been to Seton, and worked the ring or on the floor, and amazing events, and just really happy to be here. So yeah, it's great working with Bobby, of course.
Well, and it's been great to see your talent continue to grow and evolve within this. And now this past year, Dusty's been able to be the auctioneer for 5 different events. Our friend Shelley, who was with Ascend, helping individuals in homelessness, those at food insecurity, healthcare, lots of things like that. And she was one of our attendees, just like this, and learned a lot. And was like, okay, let's work together. So we found a way that we were able to work together. We consulted with them for about 5 months to help build this gala that they have been having for what, like 30 years or something?
Yeah, it's a long time.
Long time. Yeah. And we found out that her fundraising revenues were what, like 15, 20,000 at the event.
Low. Or lower.
Low. Yeah, there was much potential there to be grown. And if Shelley was here, she would be very, very excited because how much did you guys do in the room, live auction paddle raise?
Just in the room, not live auction, paddle raise just that night, no pre-security or anything like that. They went from 14 the previous year. They were at 14, 15, in the previous years, and we went to 58 at that one night. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, that was big for them. And now we've really kind of tapped into that. This is identified the potential that there is there, and then now have built a foundation for fundraising to move beyond that. So Shelley, we miss you, because we're going to send the recording out to everybody that also registered and whatnot to have this. So this is us, and we're going to get rolling here. So we're going to talk a little bit about trends of what is happening in the fundraising world. This is from our friends at One Cause. Platforms that you're all using. We're still Galabid?
Galabid.
Okay, and they've been good, right? Okay, good. Tony, and then we're what? GiveSmart. It's still okay. Still thinking with them. Jacqueline, what about you?
GiveSmart and Donor.
Okay. Oh, good. Okay, good. And they talking together? Good.
No.
No. Okay. They don't talk yet. Okay. So I got this from our friends at One Cause. This is talking about the likelihood of giving a donation or some of their feelings within that. And a lot of this comes where hey, yeah, I'll become a regular annual donor, and the highest percentage there is it feels good. I make a difference. And a lot of that does come from the gratitude process that we're going to be talking about. Process donating positive easy, clear what the funds are being raised for and used wisely. I mean, there's that trust that comes into that. Enjoy the campaign or event, asked to donate again by somebody I know. And ultimately, it's building relationships is what we're really here to do. And then inform me of the impact. And then, the campaign event was inclusive and welcoming. That's what we're really trying to create, is that optimal experience at the event, inclusive, welcoming. We're creating a entry point for new donors. We're cultivating those relationships there, but then also stewarding relationships beyond that and continually working our donors up that wonderful fundraising ladder. So this was just some interesting data that I found here. Retention rates. This is scary. And then as you'll see, it's not as much as it was previous years. But if you're going to be losing 3.5% of your donors year over year, what can we do to stop that? And how do we how could we take this to go the other way? And we'll talk a little bit more about retention and the kind of refilling the gap that's there. But this was a number that was okay, we need to stop this. So if you have 100 donors, you're losing 5, and you need to find 5 more. And how much does it cost to even just get one donor? Not even at the event, but even beyond that. Sources of giving. This is a big thing that I've seen like over 40 years here. Is in '83 it was all from individuals and then foundations and bequests and then corporations and whatnot. And it's really, the foundations have really grown, and it's still the majority of individuals, and that's who attends our event, is individuals. But what's really interesting about this is not only is it individuals that are sources of giving, but it's individuals that also run the rest of these. It's individuals that run foundations. It's those relationships that help you with that foundational giving. It's corporations that have individuals that are at the top. They're the decision makers. They're in marketing. They're in corporate philanthropy, whatever they are. But they still make decisions. And then bequests. Nobody's going to make a bequest unless they love you, and they really have to love you to take that time and energy to adjust or add you to their will and their, kind of their last testament. And again, that doesn't happen unless they know, like, and trust you. They want to be, leave their legacy with your mission. Here's the little breakdown of our wonderful generations that are out there. And obviously we have a giant transference of wealth that's happening. I've heard anywhere between 30 and 40 trillion that's going to be coming down from our boomers into, our next generations that are there. And that transference of wealth has to happen, and it's going to happen no matter what. So the question is like, how much of that transference of wealth do we want to try to retain? How much do we want to try to attract within that? Our Gen Xers, that's kind of the world where I live in. Yes, we're a little bit, average annual donation average is a little bit lower than our millennials and our Gen Zs and Zennials, who were raised, we're like, you can change the world. You can go out and change the world, which is great. We love that as a culture of philanthropy in those generations, which is beautiful. But it's interesting to look at, where, they want to donate more money. Boomers are like, yeah, I'm good. Gen X, yeah, we're good. But then Gen Z is like, yeah, I'll give more money. I see the ROI of what that investment is. Giving to more organizations, so they're spreading their dollars out, versus like our boomers, who were more like, we're going to pick one or two, and spread the, they weren't spreading the love as much as they are. But our Gen Zs are definitely doing that. And then, there's a current issue or need that comes up, the big hurricanes that had just happened. That's, wanting to be able to step into action of, what can I do? How can I do this? And then being able to send out some money and be a part of that mission is huge. Another big thing that I kind of saw was like, it's definitely health. Children's charities are always good. Us Gen Xers, we just love our animals. Faith-based is a big thing for boomers, and it just continues to evolve. That's within there. Like, as you'll see, similarities that are in here, but then our faith-based kind of just dropped off. So it's like, okay, well, how do we, especially as a faith-based school, how do we build that up? How can we, continue to engage those Gen Zs and then beyond? So just. Yes, this came from their most recent event study that they out. This is another bit of data that I pulled off the old Google, talking about future donation expectations. Boomers like, nah, I'm good. This is kind of like what I'm giving, and I'm not going to give any more. Gen X is like, okay, kind of the same, 50-50. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. And then your millennials and whatnot, they're kind of status quo right there. But what's really scary here is that almost a quarter of each one of those generations is like, yeah, no, I'm going to give less. I'm like, yeah, no, don't make that happen. This is where the biggest growth is right here, is that increase. Can we increase those giving levels? Can we increase those donations that are out there? And this is all going to happen within our conversation today. How do we increase those gifts that are there? So from having the increase and then making no change, I think a lot of this could come from the no change and add to this, and a lot of the reduce can stop that hole in the bucket. Is really what we're trying to do with this, is at least get them to stay the same or increase this. And then we have to stop the stop. We want people to continue to fall in love with this. I think there's a statistic out there that it's like 1.5, 1.7 years that a donor will stay with you. And then if they don't feel the love in 1.5, 1.7 years, they're gone. They're going to find somebody else. And then they're going to take their dollars someplace else. So that is kind of a scary number. But again, How do we stop that, that donor attrition from happening? And then a lot of times there'll be individuals that replace their dollar giving with time giving, and that ultimately is the ultimate or the most valuable asset that any of us have in life. So it's that volunteerism is so huge. It's like, yes, we need the dollars to keep the programs going, but yes, we also need the hours and the talent, and then also the team. We'll talk a little bit about that too, of how to bring that team in. But it's also interesting is that with volunteering, 70% of volunteers are donors as well. And that becomes a missed opportunity sometimes, especially at events. They're like, oh, we got the volunteers in, and while the event's going on, we'll have the volunteers going and doing something else. But if you've got 10 volunteers and they're doing something else and they're not involved in the fundraising in the room, that's 7 people that would probably give in the room at some way, whether it's silent auction, live auction, paddle raise, raffles, whatever, and they're off working. Like, no, how can we bring them in as well too? So that's a big space to be able to bring in some more donors and really leverage that potential that's there. The way that we look at this is we can look at this as a bit of a checklist, pre-event. My ChatGPT didn't fill these in automatically, so it just looks good. So we've got pre-event, we've got at event, post-event. What are those relationships can be, or where we can take them, and then the cycle is going to continue. It's going to go. I call it the 365 degrees of fundraising. So like we're looking at every day as a fundraising opportunity and keeping that cycle going. So pre-event, so we have to go in to the event with this strategy. And this is a huge thing that we have to do, is be prepared to provide that gratitude at the events. So, event 4.5 months, 5.5 months, 10.5 months, it's coming up really fast. But now to build that event gratitude strategy, like what are we going to do leading into the event to continue to talk about, the impact of that gift, but then what is that gratitude strategy at the event? And being strategic about it. Like, how can we apply these different little tactics or kind of tricks and different things to provide the gratitude at the event without the donors even knowing that it's happening? And a lot of this giving is very subconscious, from that. And I think we have some stats, right?
Yeah, we do. These are more like phone call style stats. You want to get them now?
Yeah. Let's
Okay,
pop
cool.
them up there. Just
Okay,
kind
cool.
of.
So this is kind of fun. So this is phone calls. Okay, so the first one, let's represent that at about 0. Let me go over, and this is no calls. So this is no calls. You will have about a 33% re-engagement.
And I think calls can be kind of a variable for letters, can be any contact that's out there, but this is just where the data was pulled from.
The data was taken from touch points on phone calls. But if they received one call within 90 days or one touch point within 90 days, it went from almost up about 8%. And then if they received more than one, so this is just one and this is 1 plus, how about we go 2 plus? 2 plus, we were at 58.21% of re-engagement. So that's pretty significant when you look, at that from no call to 2 calls or 2 touch points. It's pretty good. Also, when they were doing phone calls, they said, okay, well, what happens on time frame? So within 48 hours, if they received a phone call, that was 4 times more likely to give again.
If they received something in 48 hours.
Yeah, if they received a phone call or a touch point within 48 hours.
After the gift.
After the gift, they were 4 times more likely to give again for a second gift.
And this is after any gift, or is this at the gala gifts?
So this is any gift, any gift. We're applying it to gala, but yeah. And then also they found with newly acquired donors, this is pretty interesting. If they received a phone call, this one was within 24 hours, they were going to, it's 39, excuse me. They were going to increase their next gift by almost 40%.
That's for new?
For newly acquired donors. This one's for newly acquired.
Yeah, so that could be a good example of that as a guest that comes as, with someone that is a
Yeah.
donor or, a member of the school or something like that. And maybe they buy a raffle ticket, maybe they buy a silent auction item, maybe they give at the lower level in the paddle raise. That's a transition from guest to donor. Yeah. So in this, here, if they receive that in 24 hours, then wow, they're going to give 39% more, beyond the event or when that donation has happened. And we put this up here to give an example of the immense opportunity that is available, and something as simple as a phone call. Just picking up the phone, the old-fashioned phone, and making a phone call, and how that can affect, the likelihood of making another gift, or the size of that next gift that's out there. Yeah.
I don't know if this is a.
There's no dumb questions.
Okay, good. Just for the 24 hours, we have our gala on Saturday.
Yep.
For new donors, you can actually call them on Sunday.
Yes.
I'm always reaching out to my top donors on Sunday.
Right,
Like,
right.
I know what they're doing,
Right.
but like new donors, they're not sure.
Okay.
Sunday's okay?
Actually, I've got it. Yes.
Okay.
We've got a tactics that we're going to talk about like that. But Sundays, yes, nobody's going to expect a phone call. Number one, so the likelihood of somebody actually picking up is pretty high. Number two, they just came from the gala. They're probably a little bit hungover. They're not going to answer the phone. There's studies that are showing that voicemails are just as effective actually getting somebody on the phone. So just get them on, get the voicemail. Hey, thank you so much for coming to the event last night. It was so amazing. We love you. We did this, la 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 la. We love you. And then they get that, and they're like, oh my gosh, okay, great. I mean, they're not going to call back. Maybe they will, but even just receiving that message within that 24 hours is such a key component. So a lot of this is talking about that event gratitude strategy at the event, and then preparing to succeed beyond the event. Now, show of hands, who does that? So we have an event, and we know how we're going to say thank you afterwards. Or, okay, so we know how we're doing that afterwards. And then once we're like after the gala, and you're looking forward at that, are you seeing other opportunities to continue to say thank you?
Well, wherever the gift comes from, I make a call myself.
Okay.
For you, and it doesn't matter the size of the gift. So I call every single donor that we get.
Beautiful.
And I try to do it within 24 to 48 hours.
Nice.
I don't call it weekends. But yeah, so I'm always looking for that opportunity. But I have to tell you, one of the things I do is always ask them to give me 5 words to describe themselves so that I know who my donor is. And
Oh, wow.
it gets me into such good conversation with my donors, but it gives me the 5 words, and I make sure and keep a word. What do you call those? Like
Like a word bubble?
they're like a word cloud. And so whenever I'm writing my appeals and stuff, I make sure and use the words that they're using.
Oh, so within the CRM, you're adding that.
Well,
and-
I just have my own list, and it makes I forget what they're called, but a Word document will actually do it for you. So you add all the words, and then it'll put a cloud, and it'll show you the ones that are popping up the most.
I got you. Yes.
And then, and when I use my chat GPT now, because that's my best friend, I tell them who my audience is by putting in those words.
Really?
And it writes like directly for them.
And so you're individualizing your
Yeah.
messaging. Is it to each donor or just donors?
Groups.
Donor
Yeah,
group.
yeah. So
Okay.
I have the moms, whatever, empty nesters, because we have a lot of those. I have the boomers, I have and so when those different age groups give me their words, I keep them in the right column. So
Excellent.
that whenever we segment, it's the right person.
Now, how long have you been with the organization?
A year.
A year.
Yeah, but I've been with nonprofit. I've worked in nonprofit since 2012.
Okay. So is this something that you
I
implemented?
just implemented this. And
Okay.
I love it.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. So I'm sure you've seen a rise then already.
I've definitely seen more engagement in donors.
Okay.
Much more engagement.
Okay.
So it's not just giving now, they're asking what are families need for Christmas or when they volunteer. And so the more that I can get them integrated, I feel like the more that they give people.
Beautiful. And it'll be fun to measure year over year, and then, towards the bottom line. And then I'm sure there'll be some way to kind of track back to that to be like, look, these are the tactics that I applied, and this is the result of that. And then now you're going to have so many more to be able to apply this, where it's going to be exponential growth. And they're like, what happened? You're like, well, I do what I do well, and I'm doing it better now. So, and then another big P of this is also impact report. Not only yearly impact report, but also an event-specific impact report sent to those that were actually a part of the event. When I was at one of the conferences, I was speaking with a graphic designer that serves nonprofits, and they do the invitations, and they do the brochures, and they do the impact reports. And I asked them, I'm like, have you ever done an event impact report? And they looked at me and they're like, I've never heard of that before. I was like, you haven't? Well, I think we have to start using this then, because it's, again, it's that measurement of that gift. Like, where did it go? Or when I raised my paddle, what happened? And all right, at the gala, we raised $200,000. This was the result of what happened from that $200,000. And, you know, this is what we were able to purchase. And, you know, like, there's always a project at the school that we're trying to create, or, you know, fill up the special, you know, event center with some different things and whatnot. But then creating some impact report from the event, in addition to, you know, kind of your other, and it doesn't need to take a lot, but it can be just, you know, a couple little data points, again, just to keep that fire alive, and then actually implementing it. Strategy is one thing, big ideas is one thing, but then action's another. And you are all only one person. And it's like, how can we delegate that out to other individuals that are as passionate about the organization as you are, to leverage their time and their talent and their team? So here, let's pop to the next slide.
Yeah,
Just push the right
arrows,
button.
right? Yep.
There you go. So here, gratitude strategy. These are all the people that we're going to be saying thank you to that are involved within the event. One I just noticed that I forgot to put on here was volunteers. Volunteers need to be a big part of that. So board members, number one. I mean, they're the ones that are, you know, again, volunteering their time and their talent and their team and their treasure to be a part of that. So it's making sure that they love you as much as they can. Live auction buyers, they're buying the big trips, they're going on these different things. You have a live auction in yours?
We have, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, good.
And we use our board members to make the gratitude call.
Yes. Beautiful. Okay, good. You are reading ahead in the book. I love that. So we have great big live auction items here and great.
Our kids do it, so they call.
Oh my! You have the kids call? What? Okay, what does that look like when you have a kid call?
Well, they were a little bit rusty. I started 2 years ago.
Okay.
So, I give them a script.
Yeah.
Because they get a little bit nervous. And
No.
So, there one person called me. They're like, "Hey, I just had your kid call thank you." And I was like, "Oh yeah, like, we love it." They're like, "We were waiting for a while though, because nobody said anything, and then like a good 30 seconds went by, and then they spoke." I was like, "Okay, great. Thank you for calling me." So, they're a little bit new to the phone and maybe doing things like that. But yeah, I've had definitely people who are just like, "Thank you, that was awesome."
That is so cool.
Different skill builder for the kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, exactly. I mean, because like nowadays, my kids, I take them out to dinner. Like, I'm not ordering for them. Like, you got to order. I went out to dinner with my two sons yesterday, and the cheeseburger came with onions instead of lettuce. And I'm like, "Is this what you ordered?" He's like, "You better say something." And he's like, "I ordered this with lettuce, not onions. Could you please fix this for me?" And they did. They sent it back. He brought it back with the lettuce and whatnot. And it's that, empowering situation to learn. That's it.
Kids text and stuff more than they talk on the phone.
Right.
And so with my teenagers, I would have them role play with me. Like, I was the person calling them, so they would have all the skills, make it role play with the kids with the
Nice.
phones.
Nice. Yeah, right on. And Tony, I'm not sure if you all are doing that, but that might be an opportunity there.
We thought about it. It's a little bit different in the high school.
Mm-hmm.
I think because of talking to the parents first, and then saying, "Hey, we're thinking of this idea, and we'd like your permission."
Right.
Because you get a lot of no's.
Right.
No,
Right.
I don't want my kid doing that.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and then you're looking at the personality types at that age.
Right.
So you really have to choose the right people that are open and,
Mm-hmm.
have that character to just talk to anybody. And
Right.
say what. So that is all big.
Oh, okay. Do you now, Tina? You get the permission from the parents?
No.
You just
As long as they're media approved and they're,
Okay.
Our kids they've been doing speeches and presentations since first grade.
Okay.
So they're all pretty good.
Yeah.
Of course, I'll have a certain gal or guy maybe, call the top donor. And I would have already called
Got
the
it.
prize party gal.
Got it.
So they're getting multiple touch points. But yeah, I'll have a certain person maybe call the top donor.
Okay, good, excellent, wonderful. So you live auction buyers, sponsors, everybody's building the sponsorship program. I remember when Villa did not have any sponsorship program; it was zero. And now, how much are we doing in sponsorships?
We do 510,000.
Wow, Tony, how much did we do in sponsorships this year?
Oh, we did 14,000 though, so I would definitely need more people.
Okay.
In pilots, but we got a lot of 2,500s this year, which is awesome.
Beautiful.
So we're getting up there.
We had about 67,000
Okay.
for the gala,
Mm-hmm.
and about 38 for the golf classic.
Okay. It's almost 100 in total for sponsorships. Yeah. And I remember when there wasn't a sponsorship program, to where now, to have an additional $100,000.
Yeah, and not only that, you have to evolve it. So
Yeah.
now we have, this year we got a small team to start calling
Yeah.
and potential sponsors, right? Instead, before it was just us, and there was a lot of time, because you have to spend that time.
Yeah.
If you want these, and it's so unusual, because to me, I was like, we're gonna ask him for 30,000, you think he's gonna give it to us? And they're like, well, we gotta ask, right?
Right. You don't ask, you don't get.
Right.
Yeah.
And it comes along that way. The people that came in as a team for the sponsors, they're business savvy.
Yes.
So that's the other thing, is to make sure you're getting the right people to do that,
Yep.
that already know the business world, right?
Mhm.
And can feel comfortable coming up to somebody and asking them,
Yeah.
to do sponsorship.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a big ask. We went to 30 grand to be a title sponsor. Yeah,
Right.
that's huge. Jacqueline, what about you? What's your event sponsorship look like?
Right now it's at 101.
Okay.
But my goal is 150.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's work.
So we got to figure out a way to add another 50% to that.
Yep.
Okay. And a lot of times, again, with the gratitude process, it's asking without asking. And many times you'll have, this gratitude go out, and then checks will come in. Has that ever happened to anybody? Without? Okay. Yeah. Right.
Just 2 years ago, we had a grandparent, he came and toured the school. And then they offered their place of business. They said, I'll give it to you at a discount if you're having, so that brought down our price
Right.
to have the gala,
Mm-hmm.
because he has a hotel.
Yeah.
So we're like, and then he said, what else do you want? What else do you need?
And you didn't ask. Just
Right?
right
Just
on.
came up with, he was so impressed on the market tour, the school tour, that he was like, you guys are doing a lot of great things here.
That's awesome.
And part of the key is to have, we have students give the tour.
Oh, that's good.
That's really good. I like that. I really like that. So yeah, again, sponsors, huge, area of fundraising that's there. Major donors. What do we consider as a major gift? What's kind of that level? 1,000 and above?
Ours is 5,000.
5,000 and above?
We get a lot of great, I'd say that's where it comes in, it's just donor giving. Our highest this last year was 25,000 for that person.
Okay. Okay.
And last year was 30, so we went down, when he told me he went down because his daughter's going to high school. I know, just like, no.
How do we get a new one, a new Eric?
I'm so glad that his son's still there for 3 more years.
Yes, yes.
So, and it's nudging, password tickets, like all the things I possibly could.
So then now but then it's also, in 3 years, that money may
Yes.
go. So it's like, how do we backfill that? And again, coming back to retention rate, all of this, we have to continue to keep building up that donor pool. And then paddle raisers. We love our paddle raisers, and that is just that pure giving, that event philanthropy, which is my favorite part of this. I mean, yes, auctions are one, fun thing, and we get to talk fast and tell jokes and get everybody excited about it, but really that's where the dollars are most raised. I know their data, is that something you're seeing too?
Yes, we do a couple of auctions. So we do a live auction and we do a cake auction.
A cake auction?
And so we get bakeries from around the valley, and these cakes go for $4,000 to $5,000.
What?
It's ridiculous. We get $30,000 off of 10 cakes.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay, I guess we might be doing a dessert or cake auction. Okay.
It's crazy.
What do the cakes look like?
Just we'll tell the bakers like the theme, and so they'll do the theme and like make them different. And then one always does like gluten free, and then we just say before like we'll just ask, and then Brett Higgins is our.
Brett's one of my best friends. He's
Yes.
amazing. I love that
so
guy.
he like gets them real into it, and then they'll all fight over the cakes.
Nice. So when do you do that? Do you do it early, late, middle?
We do it middle.
Okay.
So we'll serve the dinner, and then when it's time for, we'll do the cake auction, we'll auction those off, and then everybody else gets the dessert from the venue.
Got it.
But, we take it back to the table, slice it up, and serve it
Wow.
for guests.
That's good. And then where does live auction with the items after that, before that?
It's
After that. Okay. So it becomes kind of a warm up as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Oh, good. I love that. So then from there, now we're breaking this down. Where are the dollars coming from? How much board members giving, live auction, all of this, and adding that into your data points. But then looking at it, okay, who else was in the room? Who was there? Was it a board member that bought that cake? Was it a major donor that bought that? Or was it somebody new that bought that cake? And then that's starting to build in that data of the event to now helping us to push forward from that. This is an example of what an event impact report could look like. This is the dollars we raised, sponsorships, These are results we have. This is how, we are making an impact, helping our kids, helping our community that we serve, whatever it might be. We now have a new special events center, photos of that. Like here, we turn dollars into this. As this is kind of a new idea that we're rolling out with our clients, as we start to have these created, we're going to make a bank of examples that are with this. And this is a new feature that we're putting as well, is creating a client vault, a toolbox of all these different resources that we're going to have, so our clients have access to these full resources and these recordings and everything. So kind of one of our little perks that we're adding into this. Here's some examples of pre-event marketing, or kind of showing that impact. That's there. Again, our phone call, everybody loves that. Some different social things that you could talk about. Here's our event. This is what it looked like. Thank you for being a part of that. And this is that leading into the event. This could be like that 6 months. This could be that 3 months. I mean, you could start right now and start talking about, kind of foreshadow the events coming up. Save the date. When do your save the dates go out?
They went out in October.
Okay, so you're 6 months. Okay.
We're gonna send ours out after Thanksgiving, so
Okay.
it's coming out, but we already did our soft save the date ones
Okay.
in August.
Oh, okay. So that's another 6 months, 8 months kind of thing. Tony, what about you?
We do it between January and February.
Okay. So this could be, with the impact report, and then also these social conversations leading up to that. That could be 6 months, 3 months, whatever it is. Save the date's already gone out, but it could also kind of remind everyone, like, here, this is what we did. Remember how awesome the gala was. So then now we're kind of moving from pre-event, now moving into our actual event. The connection hour, which used to be called the cocktail hour, because when people come to the cocktail hour, what are they focused on? Cocktails. But if we have the connection hour,
They get more.
okay, so let's have this conversation right now. So there's a study. It's called the diamophretic curve, which is a study of the effects of alcohol on humans, on adults, and where is the level of joy, where is the level of of entertainment, of happiness, I guess you could say. And they find out that it peaks at like 1.7. So if we get them beyond that 1.7 side, now it moves into kind of a more of a selfish, what's in it for me, I'm just here to get wasted kind of thing. And it's not about that joy and elation, of the event. So the misconception of like, all right, we got to get them wasted to give. Maybe not true. We want them toasted, lightly toasted. But we do host quite a few dry events that are out there, and it's shown that we don't need to have that. And I'm working this year with Phoenix Christian Prep. This will be my first year, and they are on campus, and they don't have any alcohol at all on campus. I work with Scottsdale Christian Prep, and they are at the Fairmount, and they have an outdoor bar that some of the parents do pregame at, and then they do come to the event, and then they go there afterwards. But there are parents that just show up, and they're not worried about having the beverages. So it's an interesting conversation to be able to have. But I do want to help adjust that and moving this into the connection hour, because now we're connecting your donors with your mission. We're connecting board members with guests. We're connecting donors and donors. We're connecting sponsors. It's bringing that's making that connection from that. So that's one of the things we're really trying to make. Yeah.
We have a 2-hour cocktail hour.
Connection hour.
Yes, the connection hour. Excuse me. I want to ask you your opinion. What
Yeah.
do you think about going to one? I know my auction committee's opinion is a no, we need that 2 hours because everybody really wants to mingle.
Right.
But what are your thoughts?
I mean, again, we start to look at the diaphragmatic curve, we look at attention, we look at energy. There's some groups that we do work with that have a VIP hour leading into that, and then it's kind of a general connection hour, beyond that. So you kind of have a chance to mingle and mix with those major donors and those VIPs that are there, and that kind of gives an urge to be a VIP. There's some times where you could be selling a VIP ticket, where then they get that VIP, and whereas the connection hour is like a cash bar, just kind of like that. That VIP could be an open bar. That's an opportunity there.
Realize who is there for that piece. Because I think it's an assumption that alcohol is good at an event. I changed our golf classic last year, and there was an uproar with the volunteers because we used to give 2 free drinks.
Yep.
And the golf course charges whether we use them or not.
Right.
That was $4,000.
Okay.
Right? So then I said, we're not having any free drinks. They're like, what? You have to have the free drinks. I go, I don't think we have to have them.
Okay.
And they're totally against it, right? So then, everybody's going to be complaining at the tournament. One foursome complained, not complain, but ask for the tickets.
Yeah.
Nobody else out of 200 golfers. And then I went and followed the golf carts. What they call the beverage carts.
Yep.
I went and followed them to each foursome and told them, hey, the drinks are on me. So, at the end of the day, we spent $400 for the golf
For the beverages.
drinks, right?
Wow.
So I
Wow.
was like, see, you guys are just thinking that this is a good
Yeah.
thing, and we're losing money here.
Yeah. And the reality at the end of the day is like, is it that big of a deal? And no, it's not. So if we can turn that focus around towards something like the connection hour, then I think you're going to see more people connected to the mission, connected to the fundraising, and being connected together, because that's what we're really trying to create, is that web coming together. And then you have your program and the awards and yada yada and all that kind of stuff, and that's where the live auction and the paddle raise and the fundraising happens. And then the after party, which is kind of the celebration of the giving that has happened. And that's a big component of the event itself, is that post-event jubilation that the entire audience is having together. The way that I measure a successful event is if nobody wants to leave. Like, they don't want to leave the space, they don't want to leave the energy, they want to just continue that good time. So if you can measure and kind of and plan for that good time to happen, and then give them some things. We're going to talk about the surprise and delight a little bit, but it's like, what could you do to foster that? Because that will be kind of that final experience that they're having at the event, to then continue to keep that feeling beyond the event. So it's setting that up for success early on. Let's connect, program. That's where the money happens, and then the after party. Then that's where it solidifies that and gets everybody feeling good. And then at the after party, we don't care how many drinks they have. They can imbibe to their heart's content. So again, connection hour. These are some examples. Here, Dusty, your computer went to sleep on me. So these are just some examples of some ways that you can say thank you leading in to the event. I love Boys and Girls Club. A lot of them use the boys and girls to be the cheerleaders as they're coming in. They're saying thank you. They're like, "We love you, yeah, you're our heroes," kind of thing. And then again, it sets that energy high. It sets that, oh, we are, yes. Some ways that I love to show this is also some impact messaging. Last year we were able to help X amount of patients. Last year we were able to help X amount of students. We were able to do this, do that. Some testimonials of people that you're serving, having that out there. There's a 5-star review here, and this was life changing. This changed everything about my life. And it's having these different signage and these different messages around the room that really showcases what that impact has had. Our philosophy is based in donor-centric fundraising. We're really looking at the donors and how do we put them as the hero. It's not the transaction-based fundraising, it's more of that donor-based fundraising. And when we start to look at it from this side, it's the easiest way to give the example of what that is we all remember Sesame Street, right? What was the last thing that you saw at the end of a Sesame Street episode? There was always the PBS logo that came up, brought to you by viewers like you. So that's the easiest way that I can, showcase what donor-centric fundraising looks like. So because of your donation, you made this happen. You made these happen. You made this happen. You made all of this happen. And all of these different touch points that you can add in the donor-centric fundraising is going to make a huge difference and continue to add to that energy and that generosity throughout that. The registration is a great place to have that, making sure that your registration team, whether they're volunteer or paid, that they're ready to say thank you for being here tonight, thank you for here making an impact. I love this Morning of Gold. They have a QR code. You take the QR code, it takes you right to their impact report online. It takes you right to some videos. It takes them to a specialized homepage. So as your friends are there, boom, they hit that, they can see that, they look through it, and then they turn the signs around on the way out. So it's here, hit this on the way out as if one spot. And again, your connection hour is a huge place to be able to do the connecting and building those relationships. So there's an organization called Child Crisis Arizona. I'm sure everybody knows them. Tori and Justin are two of my favorite people in the entire world, and probably the premier event fundraisers that I've ever been able to work with. And if you look here, this is the paddle. And this is the thank you card. And it says, "Howdy, Steve. Welcome to our Saddle Up event. We're grateful for your attendance tonight, celebrating the amazing power of our community," and yada, 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 yada kind of things. So it's even saying thank you before they even raise their paddle. It's like right connected. Yes. And I don't think everybody gets one. I think this goes to the major donors and the sponsors and whatnot. But even as this is an example, if someone grabs their card and they see this, they're like, "Oh, they love me. I love them." Let's see here. Okay, so some other ways that you can help with this, obviously the imagery, using the giving quotes. We can use welcome back to our donors and bidders. That came from previous years. Your donations helped us to do this. Welcome to not our guests, welcome to our future donors, which is a great way to kind of foreshadow as well. We also make sure that you're over delivering that gratitude to the sponsors. Going beyond that sponsor agreement. Like, look, we're going to do this, and this, and then all of a sudden now the sponsors show up, and all of a sudden there's this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and it continues to go above and beyond. So you're adding more value. Under promise, over deliver. Very basic, business practices. But then in the connection hour, this is a huge thing that I really like to push. I have a specialized board training that I work with board members, and it'll be the meeting leading up into the event, and how a board member can support the event before, during, and after the event without writing a check. They love that. Oh, okay, what can I? And this is a way that they can do that, is connecting the group within that connection hour. And I always teach them the magic question. When you're mingling and you're rubbing elbows and you're schmoozing, and it's, "Hi, my name's Bobby D. What's your name?" Athena, great to meet you. How are you connected to the event tonight? How are you connected to this organization? Now, Athena's going to say, "I'm here with a friend," or, "My kid goes to the school," or whatever that is. And as Bobby D, the board member, "Thank you so much for being a part of this. Now, how do you feel?" You feel really good. You're like, a board member came and introduced themselves to me. You feel important, right? You're like, wow. And then all of a sudden now the board member's like, okay, here's the connection to the event, and maybe there's a connection that I have, and then we move into the 6 degrees of separation. Or we find someone that they're connected to, and then, oh, let me connect you to this individual or this individual, and then it makes the circle smaller, it makes the web tighter. So having that conversation about that, and then if this isn't their first time, I always ask, what's your favorite part about this organization? So now we're keeping the conversation focused. A lot of times, we'll have board members, they come to the event, and they start talking about the weather, they talk about sports, they talk about the economy, they talk about all the other stuff, but besides the mission. So I train the board members to stay on topic. We're staying on mission, we're staying on impact, we're focusing on that. So using these magic words are really a way to help to provide that. And then development staff is a big part as well too. I'm sure that you're going and meeting with your major donors and your board members and your sponsors. And now, do you walk in with a list?
Not probably in my head, not
Okay.
on paper.
Okay. So remember we talked about preparing your event strategy. The way that you can do that is create a Facebook. Here's our sponsors, here's their faces, here's their names. Here's our major donors, here's their faces, here's our names. Here's the individual we want to connect with, faces, names. Now you've got your big list, but then you could also delegate that to the board members as well too, chop it up into little pieces. Like, hey, I want you to go talk to this sponsor. I want you to go talk to this major donor. I want you to introduce yourself to this part. And that's another thing that Child Crisis does, is they're very strategic about this, because someone might hold a relationship with a sponsor, and then now that you'll be able to strengthen that relationship. Or there's a board member that works in housing. They work, in real estate, but then now there's a sponsor that's financing. So now you have a little bit of that collaborative effort that's there. The realtor definitely wants to meet the financing person, and there's a chance to build that relationship there. Very smoothly. Just it's that connection, and then it helps both sides. And that's, again, what we're trying to create is a win-win. You definitely want the board members to welcome their own guests, but then we want to inspire the board members to go out and then meet 2 new people that they've never met before. And everybody's afraid to meet new people at the event. But that's a part of what makes the events great, is that you're going to come to the event, you're going to have a great time, and you're going to meet new people. And this is a great chance for the board member to step outside their shell. Challenge them to be better, to grow, and to do some uncomfortable things, and that's okay. And just introducing yourself again, how are you connected? What's your favorite part about the organization? Keeping a note of that, type it in the phone, whatever it's going to be, because then now we can take that information, hand it to the development team, and then that helps to build your, again, your CRM and your data that's within that.
Do you think we can swap out board members for auction committee members?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're going to either have board members, you're going to have your committee members, other major donors, teachers, leadership. Margo, have her out there schmoozing and being a part of that. I think that's a big thing. Connecting with the major donors that are there, development staff, leadership definitely need to be there. Thank the big donors, sponsors, honorees, your pre-secured donors. We always start our paddle raise. We want to make sure that we have those pre-secured dollars that are set, ready to go. We know when we ask for 10,000, the paddle's going to go up. Is then, thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for, setting the spark to build this bonfire of giving. And that's another, individual to be able to thank leading up to that. And then in the room, like the actual program room, like moving into the ballroom, like that's another great place to be able to take your Facebook, because now you know what table they're at, and you run into table 7, run into table 8, and building that portion, that connect, or kind of extending the connection hour into the ballroom, and really building that into your timeline is a big piece. Doors open, and maybe there's 15 minutes before the program starts, because then that gives that chance to kind of go around. Some groups will do 20 minutes, whatnot, or they'll open the doors at 7, and the program doesn't start until 7:30. So we have that time, and that time is very strategic of what we're doing, with all of these different elements. Another way to do that is using, like once we're in the ballroom, you have, videos and photos of previous year's galas showcasing, last year, thank you, you helped us to do this and this and this. And it keeps continue to, reigniting that stoke inside those that are there, that were there last year, but then also it sets, how you would say, it creates a culture of philanthropy. Like, this is what this event is for. Yes, you're going to have a good time. Yes, we have an auction. Yes. But this is how we raise money within this event. And when your new guests, your future donors are there and they see that, they're like, oh, okay. This is a fundraiser. And then there's a whole conversation about how to create prepared bidders and givers at the event. And that's a way to really, really do that. Let's see here. Okay, so now we've gone from pre-program and then that whole, as soon as the doors open, what is that donor journey throughout the connection hour, from their first impression to moving into the ballroom, what's that surprise and delight? What does that feel like when you go in the room? What are they seeing? What are they feeling? And using your visual and audio assets, for good. You throw some videos up there, you can throw some slides up there, you can throw some different things up there and use that wonderful billboard that you have. All right, so now we move into our program. Let me see here. All right, so then, we start to talk about, program. You have your opening host talking about, State of the Union. This is why we're here. There's some, I like to call it the opening number, where, what's that big, what? Let's capture the attention on stage. A lot of times that could be video, it could be kids singing, it could be something, but some way to capture that attention and showcase mission, showcase impact, and another way to be able to say thank you before we start even asking for money. But then that host is going to be a part of that. Why are we here? What's our case for support? Why are we raising money? What's the whole point of all of this? And then to combine the impact from previous year's events with what our need is this year. Yeah, last year, we raised this much and we were able to help this. And this year we need you to help with this. There's more, there's a bigger need that's out there. And let's go bigger, let's raise more money, let's be a part of this. And then anybody that is, that is going to be on stage, coaching them to come in with that attitude of gratitude. And yes, everybody says thank you, but it's deeper than that. It's like, thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for having me to be a part of this mission. Everybody that has the microphone, your auctioneers, your committee members, board members, honorees, anybody that's there is a part of that thank you conversation. Live testimonials during the program of participants thanking the audience is a great way to do that. Again, thanking, we definitely have to thank the chairs, because then that keeps, they're dedicating hours and hours and days of their life to help to create this event. So we definitely want to make them feel good, put them in the spotlight, but then also turn the spotlight around and then have them come back and thank everybody else. And then you also have your sponsors that are, able to, show them love, whether it's flowers or, you're going to give them a plaque or a trophy or something like that. But then also, getting them to see the impact that they're creating. And then like, okay, I see how this is coming together. I get this. That's there. All right, so then we actually move into our fundraising component, auctions, we've got raffles, we've got paddle raises, we've got dessert auctions, we've got all of those things that are happening there. So one thing that we implemented this year with Seton, Tony, which I absolutely loved, what was the one thing that we put in the live auction that we didn't have the previous year? Do you remember? I put you on the spot. They had pom-poms.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they have to cheer out there.
Yeah, we had our cheering team out there. We called them the thank you squad.
Right.
And that's something that I want to figure out for us this year too, is how do we design a thank you squad? Maybe it's a couple committee members, maybe it's older kids, maybe it's alumni, have them be a part of that, something like that we can, build a thank you squad with that. So having your thank you squad prepped and ready to go. There's an organization that I've been working with for years called Chances for Children. They help orphans in Haiti and leaders of the household and and they all the way through. Haiti is messed up right now, but this care that they're sending out there is absolutely amazing. So at their event, they have a hug squad. So everybody that buys an auction item, they go give them a hug. Everybody that raises the paddle, they come in and they give them a hug. You can feel the love when that happens, and they prepare for that. They plan for that. Who's on the squad? Who's going to be able to give the good hugs? Who's going to be able to help us with that relationship? A lot of times, leadership is in that. Board members are in that. Committee members. Anybody that is able to be a part of that hug squad is great. But then also making sure that you have a photographer and a videographer there to capture that, because when they win that item and they hold their paddle up, they're like, yay! You want to capture that moment so that you can then send that photo later to say thank you, and then they remember how good it felt, and then that builds. That'll be something we're going to start adding this year as well too. And then having your videographer there to capture that paddle going up and the celebration and all of that, because then that helps that wrap up video afterwards for the follow-up reel. Board chair could be a part of that thank you squad. Thanking the bidders and then the backup bidders. So you have your auction winner, and they get the thank you squad, and they get the photos, and sometimes you bring them a basket or bring them a bottle of wine or something like that to say thank you for winning the live auction item. But then there's the person right before them who didn't win. They're not the loser, they just didn't win, they were in second place, but finding a way that we can thank them as well too. Maybe it is a bottle of wine. Maybe it's a gift card. Maybe it's swag. Here's a couple T-shirts. Thanks for being a part of that. Because then now your backup bidder feels that love as well too, because they were to help to raise the $10,000 from in the auction item without even spending money. And all of a sudden you're telling them thank you for bidding, and yeah, you didn't give yet, and then that kind of foreshadows for later for when the paddle raise is going to be. So they're like, oh, they love me now, I didn't even know. So now that opens the likelihood to be able to give a little bit later. Easy ways to do that. The way that you find those backup bidders, obviously you have to have a great auction team that are out there that knows who those bidders are. And I know that Brett brings a great team with them, and I know all of those dudes as well too. They worked for me at some time, and we've all worked together. So it's neat to have that, and then empowering your auction team to provide that gift to that backup bidder, and to keep that. Helping, having that auction team to focus the thank you squad. Like that's something that we utilize. Dusty and our team at Seton there was who's the winner, and then the cheerleaders saw it. Okay, they ran over there. Like, oh, okay, yes, this is who won. This is the table that won, and then your auction team can help you with that. And then for your auction item itself is to have, your live auction donors are another big donors that are there. They're the ones that bring in those items, put in that thank you on the screen, thank you to Mrs. Smith, thank you to SRP, thank you to whomever, because then what'll happen is your live auction donors are going to be more likely to give back again. But then also there'll be people in the room that have potential auction items for future years. And then they're going to see, oh my gosh, look at that. That's an item that was donated. Their name is up there, and they helped to raise money by just donating something that they had and they had access to. So making sure that we're showcasing that. So the auctions happen. We're making some great things happen. I think we have a prop here, Dusty. We're not gonna make it happen because we don't want to pay the cleaning bill. But
yeah. The confetti cans.
The confetti can.
Very simple. I mean, we have bigger ones too.
Yeah.
But yeah, very simple. Just twist, go, and if you put 2 on each table, they just get rained down with confetti, and super fun.
And this is a whole venue by venue thing.
Oh, auction team.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or your gratitude team or whomever, they go and do that. And there's other ways that you can do some semblance of confetti without actually having confetti.
Yeah.
Did you ever have us back?
They might. There was one time we were at a venue.
I paid a $200 cleaning fee specifically.
Oh, there we go.
It's like $200, so I'm like, well, worth it. And we try to tell them that we'll use those kind of confettis and not the
The little ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they can suck those up with a vacuum super easy. But yes, the best $200 you'd ever spent because everybody loves
We won't
confetti.
sign contracts unless we can get that.
Nice. Yes, beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, and it's these little surprise elements that you could bring in that they're not going to expect. Because again, I don't know how many nonprofits that we have in the Valley. I mean, it's like tens of thousands, right? And you're competing against all of those other nonprofits for the donor money, for the donor attention, for their night, their Friday night, their Saturday night, whatever it is. And this is, again, how you stand out. A trend that we're seeing now, especially over this last year, is that audience sizes are shrinking. They're falling 10, 20%. But what we're seeing is there's a higher level of engagement, a higher engagement ratio, and the dollars they're raising is more. The dollars per donor is, they're raising is more. So it's less people, more money, which is great because now we're not spending extra money on booze. We're not spending extra money on food. We're trimming the dead wood, getting them out of there, and actually every seat is valuable. So we want to make sure that we're making sure that we're raising as much money per seat as we can. So that's good news for us, and the reason we're seeing that is because we're adding in these different elements, and we're standing out from other events that are just doing the boring rubber chicken dinner, and nobody wants to go to those anymore. They tried that after COVID. They were like, yes, let's go to whatever event we can go to, and then they go to the event and they're like, oh yeah, that was not good. We're not going back to that one. But oh, my friend was at this one and they had confetti and they had this and they had cheerleaders and music and all of these things. And then they're like, yeah, we want to go to that event because that's way more fun. So then that's why the numbers are shrinking, because the people want to go to the good ones. And if you can be the good one, they're going to want to go there. And that's definitely a culture that we built at Villa. It's the place to be. You got to be there. And if you aren't there, you missed out.
Literally, if they weren't there, it's just like, oh, we missed last year. We know all about it.
Yeah, they see the pictures, they see the video, they hear the words, all of that, and then ticket sales go on, and then how long does it take to sell out? Like quick. And if you can have a sellout, that's great, because again, you're creating that great experience, you're creating desire, you're creating value within that event. And it's just as simple as what are these little strategy points that we can put in to continue to just say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, all the way through that. Let's see here. All right, so then we've had the auction, we did the confetti cannons, we played the celebration music. We want to have, let me see if I don't have it. So PowerPoints, we got to have the PowerPoints, and the auction item, the auction donor, the specifics, dun, 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 dun. But why don't we add a thank you slide after that? It's so simple. Just to make a thank you slide and put that after every auction item, just to say thank you. And you can have the cute kid, you could have the students, you can have whatever it is, but just that pure thank you. And I think 90% of the PowerPoints that I've reviewed over this last year didn't have a thank you slide, and I have to type in the note, please put in a thank you slide. And they're like, oh, we never thought of that. I was like, well, that's why we're here, to help you with that.
I feel like you told us that now that you think about it.
Yeah.
You did. It's
Yep.
because it's quick.
So easy.
Yeah.
One of the services that we're going to start to develop for 2025 is to take a hold of that live auction presentation, and actually we're going to design it because it takes like a load off of your all plate, but then also making sure that we're incorporating all of these different elements that are in there. Saves me a lot of typing and a lot of breath, and it saves our the PowerPoint designers to have to go back and do it again. It's like, okay, if that's something you want, we can create this live auction slide show, and then make sure I have all these elements that are in there and the transitions and all the things.
Kind of like loving.
Yes. Well, I love her. She's an amazing designer. So then there maybe be some collaboration that'll happen there before. And I might actually tap her into our system because I want to, yeah, she's amazing.
It's the best thing to happen to me as well.
Yes.
She really is.
Yes, and it's finding those that are donating that time and that talent that they have to, again, make a bigger impact. And I'm sure that you show her big thank you, because then she keeps coming back year over
I
year.
told her, I was like, you are my grateful vintage witness every morning. Like,
Yes.
She is my number one grateful vintage.
Love it. So, all right, so we're moving from our live auction. Now we're going to move into our paddle raise. I mean, we have the story, we have the kids story, we have the video, we have, the paddle raise. We've already talked to our pre-secured donors. Every time that a paddle goes up, again, we've got the hug squad that's going out, empowering and encouraging your board members and leadership and committee members. If someone raises a paddle next to them, say something. Walk over there. Be like, high five. Thank you so much for raising your paddle. We love you. And then there again, that's building that gratitude process. And I think that that's something that should happen all the time, anywhere that anyone is there, that you're celebrating that paddle or whatever that paddle is. 10,000, 5,000, 1,000, 500, whatever that is that if there's people in that vicinity, it's, again, we're creating that love fest that through that.
Marco's really good about running up to the
Yes. Yes. And having leadership to be able to do that, whether it's the board chair, whether it's the principal, head of school, CEO, whatever, that they're going to run over to those paddles and say thank you right away. This past week, I was working with an organization called Friends of Karen. They help kids and families that are with life-threatening, that are dealing with life-threatening diseases. They provide tons of support. But we had the two little girls that had been through cancer treatment and their sisters were our thank you squad. And we only did a paddle raise. So they were running out and they were handing out these thank you cards to all of the people that gave. And the people that raised their paddle were like, oh, this is beautiful. Actually, it was a hero-based hero theme, and everybody was a hero, or the heroes among us and whatnot. So then what we did is we created trading cards, like baseball cards or superhero cards of the little girls. And then on the back, they had some testimonials, talking about, that. So they had 5 different cards that they were passing out. And it was really neat to help create that. So finding ways that you can say thank you as those paddles are going up. Another way is you have your token of giving. One of the my favorite organization, again, Boys and Girls Club, they did the Night of Champions. And it was all about, everybody championing for kid, everybody being a champion, all this kind of stuff. So everybody that raised their paddle, they got a gold medal that was put on them by one of the club kids. And then all of a sudden at the end of the night, you have all these people with all these medals, they're walking out, they're super proud, but then you have people without the medals who are like, I should have raised my paddle. And then next year they're going to raise their paddle because they want to have a medal. So, coming up with some different giving tokens like that, it could definitely be very thematic. We've done it with like different, little light wands. We've done it with like flashing stars. We've done whatever it could be to come up with that giving token. Could be, a way to that, be a part of that. Thank you slides in the paddle raise. Auctioneer and auction team, we're definitely going to go out and say thank you. That's in our best practice. Everybody that raises a paddle, we try our best to say thank you to them. Definitely the higher levels, but then as we go down through the lower levels too, it's making that thank you so much, thank you, and I make that a big point for to say thank you to everyone that has raised their paddle as well, and then using impact messaging on that slideshow as well too. So your donation just helped us to do X. Maybe there's a testimonial up there from a kid or a student or a parent or something like that. You changed my kid's life. And then in, again, that big billboard that you have, you are able to see that and keep that conversation that's going there. So just keeping that, keeping that love there, keeping all of that. And then honorees, awards, thank you slide, over the mic, gifts, trophies, plaques, all of those things. All right, so our next one, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. Moving here into the surprise and delight. So the fundraising's done. We're getting into the after party. We're getting into that celebration of giving, and it's coming up with a way that you can surprise and delight people. Whether it's showing the number that was raised, so everybody's like, oh, I was a part of $300,000 event. That was great. Kids with thank you signs, swag bags, sweet treats, churro cart, whatever it is on the way out. It's that little bit of surprise. It's that little bit of good, extra things. You can definitely get a sponsor for that, which is good. One of the things that I like to do is utilize the valet to help you in that gratitude process as well too. Maybe it's a hanger that goes on the rearview mirror that says, I'm a champion for kids. I love Villa, something like that they see that right away. I've seen warm cookies that have been put in the valet. I've seen thank you cards being used by the valet. So it just keeps the conversation that's going. One of my favorite ways to start that gratitude process is at the end of the night. Thank you everybody so much for coming. If you would please reach under your chairs, and right now, reach under your chairs. and then there's a thank you note there. Written by the kids, written by the people that you're serving, written by your hosts here this evening or this afternoon, just to say thank you for being here and investing your most valuable time with us. And it is that little, because I think, how do you feel now? You feel surprised, you feel delighted. You're like, oh, they took that extra step. And this is something that's so simple that you could totally do all the way through that. So it's coming up with these different ways to surprise and delight, creating a closing number, celebration. Yes.
So we have done that many times, but for some reason this year, they wouldn't stick.
We just had that problem.
We got the same problem.
So we went to Plan B, and for this last year, we actually put, the menu cards where it says, which thing. We say turn that around. Kids, we had made sure they were done early so that the kids were able to write thank yous on them, and then you
had them flipped over your menu.
Yeah.
That's such a great idea to have the thank you card on the back of it. But it was such a surprise too, as nobody saw that happening. I have seen where the school will have all of the paddles, and they'll send the paddles out to all the different rooms, and then they'll have the kids write on them a crayon, thank you, we love you, draw little pictures, different things like that. So again, that's a surprise and delight. The closing number to make sure it's a big celebration. Oh my gosh, that's amazing, we just did this. As they're leaving the ballroom, definitely want to have thank you slides, signage. So on those impact signage that you had in the front, as people are coming in, on the backside, it could say, thank you for coming. Here's a QR code, keep giving, different things like that. All right, so that's our event. Event's done, surprise and delight, everybody's going home, and now they are little hungover, but they're really happy. Hopefully they're hungover with joy and all of that stuff. But then that sticks around with them. So here's some different techniques as we're going through this. So an hour to 24 hours out, social media, bam, right there that night of having somebody that's in charge of social media. Seton, you guys had Terry who was there. Awesome, was there just running around with a phone, and his job the entire night was social media. Bam, 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 bam. Cut and edited a reel. It went out that night, tagging the sponsors and the vendors and all of that kind of stuff. This could be photos, cell phone, whatever. If you're using mobile tech, One Cause, Galabid, GiveSmart, they can send out a message as people are leaving. Thank you so much for being a part of our night. It could be a link to a video. That's it. And the kids are like, thank you, something cute like that. You could have a landing page to, sign up for the newsletter. There could go to a landing page where, sign up for a newsletter and win something like that. But that's that 1 to 24 hours out. And then we've already seen phone call. That's within that 24 hours out or 48 hours. You can definitely do that, but you want to get your board involved in that. Thank you call by a board member. So these statistics were, I think, anybody making those calls, but then these get ramped up when a board member is actually a part of that. And I think that you said that you empower them to be a part of that. And I think that's why they're so giving as well too, is they're able to talk to other donors and feel their love. And then they're like, okay, well, I'm going to give. And then that's how you build, again, that culture of philanthropy within that. Again, leaving a message. One of the things that I love is a thank you brunch the next day. And then you can invite your major donors, invite your sponsors, invite your board members. And it's just a brunch. We're just celebrating. That's all we're doing. We're not doing it. Just thank you, especially to the committee, designing a brunch for the committee and just to say, thank you, we love you. That's a great way to do it. And then immediately after that brunch, tell the board members, we need 30 minutes of your time. We're going to do a thankathon right now. And here's your list. Here's your 5 people you got to call. Once you call them, you're out of there. And that's a good way that you can continue to keep the conversation going. And then you've got the 1 week to 1 month out, handwritten notes. Obviously, they make a big impact. Sponsor visits is another great way to keep the sponsor love going. Getting out there, bringing them a thank you note, bringing them a picture, from the event, something like that. Could be another token, from the event or themed like the event that stands out a lot like that. The boring tax letter. How can we personalize that a little bit, make that not so boring. Definitely, visiting the honoree, bringing out gifts, and then the social media posts and the emails and all that kind of stuff that's already going out. But they were just really celebrating all of that. There's some groups that we're working with that have interns or they have a younger development staff, and they're scheduling every day that first month a thank you celebration of what has just happened, videos and photos from the event, and just keeping, again, that joy alive. And it becomes a great opportunity just to continue to sing your own praises and then sing the praises of the donors, and then also get more visibility, which is huge in that. So now, moving from that, now we're getting into cultivation time. Here's where we're taking those first-time donors and building up the relationships there. The sponsorship gratitude meeting, meeting with leadership and directors and board members, a part of that. But then also, meeting with them as well as just showcasing that gratitude. We're gonna send the slides too, by the way. Giving again the photos to the sponsors, major donors, whatnot. If I rewind 1 second, I forgot that you have your photographer. If they can turn around those photos as quick as possible within that 1 week to send out that link with all the images, and then you'll now get all that organic social media love, because then people, they look great, they want to share that, and so making sure you're using that photographer and getting those images out as quick as possible is really a big thing there. Definitely emails, auction item winners, really, focusing on them. That was such a great time. Auction item donor, again, let them know. Thank you again for, donating us your house in Mexico. We sold it for $10,000. That was beautiful. Your honoree again, thank you notes with the photos. You could do printed photos. That's one thing that I've seen that's gone out that people really like. Because again, nobody prints photos anymore. But if, again, you empower your photographer and be like, print me the photos. And again, remember, we had the Facebook with the faces, print photos of each one of these so we can give them to them.
Shout out to my girl Christina. She works at Social Inference. she gives us a killer deal, but she does the instant pictures, so you just take a picture on your phone and then we have the QR code, and she does events all the time, so she's always just passing around, like, use the QR code, and then we'll print right there. But in the night, we have like rows of photos of everybody, and you can print as many as you want. So there's like 6 people in the room, and she's really affordable. She charges me $300.
Wow, what a gift.
Yeah.
But then your guests and your donors are able to take that hard copy photo home with them and put it on the fridge,
So
wherever.
imprints. She's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And I know a lot of times there's a photo booths that are there, but then taking those event photos and actually doing something with them, because sometimes they just end up on the internet somewhere and they don't really go anywhere. So that's your 30 to 60 days out, your 60 to 90 days out. Now we're stewarding, reaching out to the top 20 donors, saying thank you, invite them to be more involved. Come take a tour, come see what we've done, see this impact that we're having. Let's take them to coffee. How would you like to be more involved? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, we're not asking, we're just saying thank you. And a lot of times comes into that, but also offering some opportunities to volunteer, be directly involved within the mission is a great way to do that. So that's your 60 to 90 days out, 90 to 120. Definitely saying thank you. Everybody raised their paddles, all your sponsors, auction item donors can send them a special thank you. You could create a thank you event or a thank you reception to just say thank you to those that attended the event. And like that could be totally like a happy hour at the school or something like that. Everybody that was a part of that, we're just going to say thank you and then celebrate the impact that was happening. Short program, photos from the event. That's a great time to roll out that event impact report as well too. Here you go. This is what happened from the event. Thank you, thank you, thank you. No fundraising, absolutely no fundraising at it. It's free. We love you. We just want to say thank you and be a part of that. And then gratitude is the best attitude. I want to go back to so again, when we started this process, we started talking about the event impact report, and then now we're back to the beginning again. So now we're here 6 months, 3 months before the event. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Event, thank you, thank you, thank you. Post-event, thank you, thank you, thank you. Pre-event, and then it's just that, and then it just continues to keep cycling all the way through that. And here it just continues to build and build and build and build and build. And then right back again, build, 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 build. And then what'll end up happening here, you're going to see that bottom line just continue to grow of your year-round fundraising, not just event fundraising, but you'll see your event fundraising and then your bottom line fundraising go at the end of the year. And that, by using this cycle, it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. All right. Takeaways. What is one thing that you're going to use from our little session here today that you can implement for next year's event? Tony.
I like the last slide of the 30, 60, 90, 120 days. Because the purpose of something like this, I think, would work really well. Because you can get, what we're trying to capture is those, the new donors, new families that are coming in.
Yeah.
That are coming into something new, they don't know what's going on. You keep this going, and that gives them a better idea of what's happening in school.
And what you're doing is you're enhancing the culture of philanthropy. And you're showing this is what we do at our school, and this is how we do it. This is our culture, and this is how we treat our donors. And then they see that. They're like, oh my God, that's great. I want to give more. And then your cycle continues to grow. Great.
You want just one? There's a lot.
Yay! Oh, I
That's
love
awesome.
it.
I feel like helping my board members stay on task is a big one.
Yeah.
And just giving them a list, because they're always looking for that help.
Yep.
And then I love when they give them underneath the chairs for all the kids. I love the cannons. I'm always with the cannons.
Yeah.
I mean, the giving tokens, especially because we do adopt a house.
Oh, okay.
$15,000 in a piece for one of the houses for
Wow.
years.
Okay.
And so we do have
Yep.
donors that have already agreed to it, and we ask them to raise the paddle like they gave us, so then it gets everybody else going. And so giving them like, I don't know if it's some house-shaped metal, I don't know what it is. but-
Maybe even a house-shaped keychain too.
Yes.
That could be
Yes.
something cute.
Yes, and
Yeah.
having them like walk around and wear those proudly, I think that.
Isn't that neat?
Like,
Yeah.
and just like the connection that runs out of Popcorn Power, like, we have a gala that's, community members that hold, like, they sit on our gala board and
Okay.
start gala together. And, I wanna talk to them about changing to say connection on some Popcorn Power, so,
There you go.
yeah, but there's a lot more on this.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Love that. We'll send out a review email so you can kind of give us a little review and then definitely share that with us. Tina, what about you? What's one thing we're going to use this year?
Yeah, let's see, I thought also was fun. So I definitely want to steal Jackman's idea of 5 words to describe yourself when you're calling a donor.
I'm stealing that.
I know, right?
Beautiful. Thank you.
I love the students give the tour, you know,
Yeah.
I love that, so
Yeah.
talk to Margaret and Ben about that. Of course, the next hour instead of happy hour.
Yeah.
And then when people walk in the room, have an impact report ready when they walk into the ballroom.
Yeah.
Have that already playing, because right now we just have like Villa on the screen.
Yeah.
So
And then
it's
we
nice
can
to
also
see
use,
that.
sponsorship logos and different things like
Yes.
that. Again, thank you to our sponsors.
Exactly.
Great.
And then build a thank you squad. I would love to do like flashing stars since
Yeah.
it's our Jubilee or even Shine On.
Oh, yeah.
So flashing stars for
Totally.
token for our larger donors would be really cute. And then thank yous on the back of the big poster boards that we're already using. Ken will love that.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Good. Okay. So now questions. Something that popped into your head. Bobby, you're crazy. There's no way we can do all of this.
I think it's the opposite. And I'm pleasantly surprised because I didn't know what it was about really. And I was debating whether I should come or sign up. And
Yeah.
I was like, I know what Bobby does. Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sign up because I wanna know more about how to impact our community. And I can't come up with everything on my own.
Right. Yeah.
You need a lot of help from as many people as you want
Yep.
to.
Yep.
And we have that connection already, so
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I think I can go and learn a lot. And I
Absolutely.
think this is something great, because I can see that how it evolves. And it just keeps going and
Yep.
going and going,
Yep.
so.
Yep.
congrats.
The pie keeps getting better. Thank you for being here. Thank you for continually trusting me with your event. And again, we only have so many hours of consultation together, and we've got to talk about all of these things. So as a resource for you all, I've got this all put into a checklist so that you can share that, with the team so that they can see that. I'm also going to send out the slides. I'm also going to send out the recording too. So if you find something that you need with that, but we also have another surprise and delight. There's some phrasing that you can give to your board members or your kids that are saying thank you, or even some stuff that you can put in your letter. I think there's like 10 or 15 different ways that you can say thank you, and it's just kind of different things that you can utilize that. What else? What other questions?
I think mine are all like, how do you, so our CEO usually stands at the door and welcomes everybody.
Okay.
Like, as they're going to registration tickets, but she sees everybody. So
Yeah.
But I'm like, how do I, I think it's just logistical, like, because I wanted to write those letters for those key people that are coming, to put with our bid board, so I'm like, how do I, but we use, elite management.
Yep.
To
With Robin and the team.
registration and
Yep.
checking it out, so everything goes smoothly and we don't have to worry about
Yep.
anybody having that experience.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, how do I get those cards to the right people? as
Right.
they check in? So
Right.
just
Well, and then that, again, you're right. It's logistics. It's looking at the table layout and who's at what tables, and whatnot. Maybe it's just a hand delivery too.
You assign
We have a thing,
tables?
Yeah.
you should assign bidder cards before they get in, and then put the thank you notes, like, you just have like a safety.
Right.
Yeah, paperclip. Yeah.
Paperclip, and so they'll know, and then that name's be on there connected to their number. It takes maybe like 2 to 3 seconds more, instead of just giving them the next card that comes up.
Mhm.
But
I'll just talk to Robin about that.
Yeah.
And they've done that before where they'll have pre-printed cards and then.
We always print it, because we have
Oh.
a bid board sponsored.
Oh, okay,
We
see?
print them and put the sponsor on the back.
There you go. Beautiful. I love
But
that.
I just have to talk to Robin first.
Okay.
How do you
Yeah, well, and I think when you're talking to her, like, we want to, try to implement this new strategy. This is something we learned from Call to Auction seminar. Is we want to put a thank you note on some of these key people. Can you help us to facilitate us with that? And I know that they're totally all in that.
It's
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yep, absolutely.
Then one of the things that I did this year that was different from the previous years, I think, was, I've always been in front welcoming our guests, and that was pretty much it. This year I did 3 different welcomes and thank yous. I was there in front, and then right after dinner, I was going to all the tables saying thank you, and then at the end, we say, don't forget what you bid on to pick it up and then I was over there.
So he's everywhere.
They're,
I just
they're
see it
what
like-
they bid on, because, they're really happy, and they're like, I got my stuff, and I was like, thank you again, I just wanna thank you for your support, and so it was 3 different hits, so I was wondering how that kinda impacted it. I got good feedback from one of the board members saying, a few people that they had talked to had said, they didn't know me, they've been going to the gala for 3 years, they didn't know who I was, he goes, but now they know who it is, or who I am, and they were like, perfect,
Yeah.
we've always wondering, like, who is this guy?
Yeah, who's this guy that calls me or emails me? And
Right.
yeah, but then there's that face to that name. That's a human relationship.
Right, yeah, 'cause I think just one time, with 400 people coming in.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
forgettable.
Yeah, it's a lot, and then maybe finding out some ways that you could incorporate some of the other leadership, maybe some of the, some of, maybe I want to coach our friend Victor and get him.
That's what I told the board members that we should all be doing.
Absolutely, yes. Everybody's job to say thank you,
Yeah.
and to tell them, like, look, the more we say thank you, the better the fundraising is. And board members are so scared to say, ask for money. Like, no, I don't need you to ask for money. I just want you to say thank you. The money will come. Just say thank you in a genuine and authentic way. We can make this happen.
Yes, because what we want at the gala is the experience. Come out of there happy, have a good experience. That's gonna bring them back. That's like 50% of what you did nothing of it is just the event.
Yep.
But the rest of it is the push to come back.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we want them to come back. We want them to bring their friends, and we want them to give more. Yeah. We want to. I've been coining this term just this past year, is creating a environment of radical generosity. Is what we're trying to create. And radical generosity is giving beyond any budget that they might have had in mind, or giving well above what the live auction item's value is, or buying a glass of water for thousands of dollars, or a cake for $5,000. Why would they do that? Because you've created an environment of radical generosity. And then from that radical generosity is that outpouring of gratitude and that outpouring of love.
Yeah. One of the things that I did, it was very difficult with my principal, because he doesn't really like to do these things, but I told him, we have to do it. And so some of the highest bidders, in whether it was a live auction or the battle race, that are parents, so I started an initiative to invite them back to school, to talk to Principal Serna and myself about their children's experience at the school.
Ooh.
And then at the end, we're like, how's first quarter going? What is your child, what's the experience
Mm-hmm.
that you're having, that they're having? And then at the end, I discussed with them the capital campaign,
Yeah.
and we got a bunch of donations.
Yep. And then that's how we
Because that's one of the
advance
things-
those conversations.
They want to come and meet the person that's running the school.
Yep.
They want to have that conversation.
Yep.
Because a lot of people think that unless something happens with my child, I don't get a chance to ever talk about it.
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's open door.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Well, and then what you're talking about is trust. You have donors that like and know and they trust you. The more they like you, the more they know you, and the more they trust you, the more they're going to give. And philanthropy is based on trust. That they trust that you're going to be good stewards of their money, of their investments.
yeah,
So
exactly.
right on. So good. So good. So good. So it is 1:28. We're 2 minutes early. Thank you all so much for coming today and being a part of this. Sharing your time with us, be willing to come and meet some new people and get some new ideas, and yeah, come and help to broaden your mind and think a little bit bigger. And most of all, thank you for doing what you do. Your passion impacts the world in so many ways, and we're super honored to be a part of your missions and helping to be a part of your mission now and to make that impact better. So thank you for all the work that you do. All right.
Thank you guys so much.
Excellent.
It's an absolute pleasure. I've been to your guys' auctions the last couple of years. It's so much fun. And, there's all these things that you can do, but, know that you are still doing so much good stuff, right now. It's just, there's always something to add and to do. And, working with Bobby, I've learned so much about the extra things. You know, and the ideas that come from all over the place, and that collaboration. So thanks for being here today. And
Well, thank you again. Thank you for being a part of this. We're going to send you all the resources and everything. And if you, I mean, we're going to be having more of these, so we're definitely on the list. If you know of other nonprofits or schools that want to be a part of this, please invite them. We want to, again, help as many as we can. Okay? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.